This is how I walk now. This is my new walk. Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. We are right into 2024 here as of when I'm filming the video. 2023, I think for me and for a lot of you out there, was basically summed up with two words: elixirs and clones, right? Lots of elixir fragrances, lots of clone fragrances, just coming out rapid, non-stop. In 2024, I don't think that it's gonna be any different. I think there's gonna be elixirs, I think there's gonna be clone. There's going to be clones of elixirs. Today, what we're doing is we're talking about clone fragrances though, but that's for another time. Today, what we're talking about is clone fragrances that you definitely need to know about heading into 2024. Some real deal good stuff, some chef's kiss clone. I'll have all these linked in the description down below. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with this one. The most unassuming, frankly kind of ugly bottle, and not really even a catchy name or anything else. This is about as nondescript as you can get. This right here is just gonna like fade into the crowd. You know, nothing here stands out. This one is by Lfas. It's called Ishq Al Shuyuk Silver, which again, as far as like English speakers out there, if you're scrolling through a website and you're like, Ishq Al Shuyuk Silver, you look at that bottle, you probably just go, nah, keep scrolling. And there's also another part of this that's kind of annoying for me. My bottle, check this out. The cap really doesn't want to come off, and oftentimes the little collar over the atomizer just gets ripped off inside the cap, and then I have to fish it out and try to stuff it back on there. Thankfully, it didn't come off just then, so I'm gonna not press my luck and not do that again, because it's done it the last like 5 times that I took the cap off. Oh yeah, you can kind of see right there that. Yeah. So yeah, presentation-wise, it's not great. Fragrance itself, though, smells really nice. It's got a lot of pineapple in there, very pineapple forward, and you could think of it as a pineapple forward 1 Million Lucky to an extent. It kind of smells like that. Also has that really nice nuttiness that you get from 1 Million Lucky, so it's got that kind of freshness meets deepness in here. Really appealing. The quality is great. Performance is pretty good. It's about 30 bucks. Sometimes you can find it a little bit less at discounters. So it's one of those deals where the name maybe doesn't grab your attention, the bottle doesn't really grab your attention, it looks cheap, but then it smells great. So this is gonna be one of those ones for people who, you know, if you know, you know. And for everybody else, they're not gonna know about that at all. Now, I also wanna bring up, before we go to the next fragrance, that there are a bunch of codes you can use if you would like to save money shopping for these fragrances or others, and here are those codes. At fragflex.com, the code's GS25. That's buy one, get one, 25% off. It does scale up, so the more bottles that you buy, the more you save. And then Triple Traders, they got a whole lot of clone fragrances as well. So sometimes when you have the main discounters, they sell out fragrances, they sell out of the clones. And if you want those clones, you can check Triple Traders. They may have it when the others don't. And you can use that code right there, save you a little bit of money there too. All right, let's keep going. Lfas Masa up next. This one, yeah, it's interesting looking. I don't know how to feel about the bottle. I think I actually like it. Yeah, like I low-key dig this. Now, this is a clone of Ganymede, and I actually do find this to be the best clone of Ganymede right now. So there's also Celestial, and that's by Paris Corner, and that one is also solid. And if you find that one somehow for like, you know, a much better deal than this one, then maybe you would go with that one. But all things being equal, I would suggest this one over that one. That being said, Celestial is still a really, really solid alternative to Ganymede. So it's not like that's poorly done or anything. It's absolutely not. That one's very good as well. Ganymede really got like a big boost, big bunch of hype when it came out. I think it's really nice. Great minerality to it. That's really what makes that fragrance for me. Very minerally. And then of course it has this nice leather undertone to it as well. Really wearable, versatile. You can pull it off all kinds of different situations, but of course a little bit pricey. So this right here gonna get you extremely close to Ganymede on the cheap. Now I got a new one from Arabiat Prestige. This is called Nashwa. And that is something. That presentation certainly grabs your attention with that bright orange bottle and the cap as well. So this is a clone of Bulgari's Tiger. Now I know there's a lot of Tiger alternatives out there, and there are. There's a bunch. This one does things a little bit differently though. You still get that citrus off the top, like in most all fragrances that smell similar to Tiger, because that citrus smells awesome in the original. So of course you're gonna wanna get that in the clone, right? So you get that citrus here, but then this one one to me has a little bit more of a fresh spiciness to it as compared to pretty much every other clone that I've smelled of Tiger. And the first time that I smelled this, I sprayed it on a tester strip like I did just now. I didn't do that. I left it in the room. I left for a while, came back in, and it was just like the entire room filled up with this, and it smelled amazing. I almost thought, like, why don't I do that just in general? You know, like if I want to have my office smell a certain way, spray a tester strip, just leave it there, come back, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, smells fantastic in here. No need for reed diffusers, friends. Just get these. But that's how it was. Smelled awesome. So you get that citrus here, you get that fresh spiciness. It's just really appealing. The quality, fantastic. I always call this a Rabiat Prestige. Actually, I was in the shower the other day and I was like, it's a Rabiat, like Arabian Prestige. I've been consistently impressed with this brand. Like everything that they put out so far has been fire, and this one is extremely good as well. Let's keep the color scheme here going with Mandarin Sky up next from our Moth Odyssey Mandarin Sky, technically. This is a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Scandal, and this is extremely close to Scandal. Like, I don't know, 95% or so. I really typically don't give those percentages out because it feels like you just pluck it out of the air, like it doesn't even really make sense. Well, this one I find 95%, that one 83 approximately, that's probably an 87.5, blah, 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 blah. But this is one of those times where you smell this side by side with Scandal and you just think, oh, it's pretty much Scandal, isn't it? Atomizer, it's not very good, you see that? That's painful. But yeah, I mean, this is just absurdly close to Scandal. So I know it's called Mandarin Sky. I know it has Miami Dolphins colors. I know that when you look at this, you think, oh, it's gonna be super citrusy and bright and aquatic, and maybe the color scheme doesn't exactly match the smell because again, Scandal pretty much, you know, Tonka, caramel, and a little mandarin. But this is really, 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 really close to Scandal. It is a fragrance that I've seen go up a little bit in price. Originally, I think when I bought this, it was, and I could be misremembering, but I feel like somewhere around 25, something like that. And the price has gone up since then. It's still about half the cost of what Scandal is, but it's not one of those ones that you can find for, you know, 20 bucks. But the quality there is awesome. And if you want something that is essentially Scandal for less, get this. After that, Intense Peach. This is from Fragrance World. This is awesome. If you want a bitter peach clone, I would get this. I am a fan of peach notes in fragrances. Actually, there's a fragrance that I was working on that I was creatively directing. Maybe it gets released one day, maybe not, but it had an awesome peach opening, just like in love with it. I really, really enjoy stone fruit in fragrances, and this is so well done for a cheap price. So when you smell it, really sweet. That peach, it's just the focal point of the fragrance. I mean, it is the name, right? Intense Peach, that's what you get. Fantastic alternative to a much more expensive Tom Ford on the cheap, great stuff. Let's go Lattafa again with this guy, Body All Oud, Honor in Glory. Yes, Honor in Glory. So this one to me reminds me of like if you took Ani, the vanilla from Ani, and mixed it with bits from Hasselblad and kind of made it more creamy to an extent. So you get that pineapple, but you also get that vanilla. Creme brulee, I believe, is officially the note that's in this one. But that's how it smells to me, like a creamy mix of Ani and Hasselblad. But other people have found this similar to Tribeca from Bond Number 9. Bond Number 9, Tribeca does have a white bottle, so there's that, but so does Hasselblad. Huh. I didn't really determine it. What if it's a mix of all three? A super hybrid. Oh. Regardless, smells great. Really easy to wear. Like I said, has this nice creaminess, this kind of vanilla creaminess with a nice tangy pineapple off the top. Really good quality, nice performance, good looking bottle, all things considered. So this one I can easily recommend. Man, I got a lot of Lattafas here. I just realized that. I got another one right here, Kamra Kawa. So this is the new flanker to Kamra. Kamra, of course, being probably the most popular clone of Angel Share from By Kilian. This is not a drastic departure from the original Kamra, but it does have a nice little twist. And what is that twist, you may ask? Because you're just now finding out about clone fragrances and you've never heard about this one before, all two of you out there. This has coffee added. So you get that boozy sweetness, that warmth that you get from the original Kamra and also Angel Share, but you also have this kind of roast coffee bean note that's around the edge of the scent. And sometimes it's more prominent than others. So sometimes you'll smell this, you'll get a lot of coffee. You'll be like, oh yeah, really prominent. And then, you know, 5 minutes later, you'll smell it again and be like, not as much coffee actually. Now more of that praline, boozy, sweet side of things. But I actually really enjoy that because even though it's not a huge departure from Kamra, that little change makes it interesting for me. So when I wear it and I pick up that little waft of coffee, you know, it makes it smell a little different from what I've smelled 500,000 times before. And the quality here is good as well. So a really nice one. Lfas again, with this guy right here, Kaed. Now this does not get spoken about all that often, and it's a really nice one, really good quality, but I think that it's kind of similar to like the first one that we talked about over here, where when you look at this and you see the name and everything, maybe it doesn't immediately grab your attention, like, you know, something like this will, or this, right? These have a little more like pop to them, a little more attention-grabbing nature. This looks, frankly, from my opinion anyway, a little cheap, because you have this like plastic cover to it and everything. Yeah, but the fragrance does not smell cheap. No, it actually smells really nice quality. And this is gonna be a good alternative to Issey Miyake's Polaris. Well, I guess more specifically, it would be Issey Miyake Nui Disi Polaris, but yeah, Polaris. So Issey Miyake, man, they have some just killer fragrances, amazing fragrances, especially for cool weather. Problem is, especially in the US, they become extremely difficult to find. Basically, they come out and honestly, it feels like they hit discounters once. And if you don't get it then, good luck. Maybe they'll restock it in 6 months or a year or never, but that's how it feels. So, you know, you have all these amazing releases, Polaris being one of them, and they're so difficult to find. Yeah, that makes this pretty useful. Quality here, very good. It's a dark, woody scent, but it smells classy. It smells well put together. Has like a leathery undertone to it as well. Just smells great and not too expensive either. After that, we have Mahir Legacy, also from Lfas. I actually think that bottle is hideous. I know some people will probably like that one, but man, I hate that one. Just as time goes, every time I look at this, I'm like, oh. It's like fingerprint magnet reflective silver in a weird shape with the horse head on top. It's not to my liking, but the fragrance itself is solid. Really fresh, green, minty, slightly sweet, but not too much. Similar to Sedley from Parfums de Marly, and also maybe has bits and bobs from a number of other fragrances out there. The mintiness in the opening here is really gonna draw that comparison to Sedley though, and makes it a very nice alternative to that fragrance. So Mahir Legacy, a lot to love about this one, especially in spring and summertime. After that, we got Midnight Oud from Ard Al Zafran. This is a fragrance I reviewed a long time ago and haven't really brought up too much since then. This is a clone of Interlude by Amouage. Now, once upon a time, Interlude was one of the more in-demand niche fragrances out there. The original Interlude was considered one of the best Amouage had ever done. A lot of people would still say one of the best they've ever done. But for a time there weren't really any good alternatives to it. And this was one of the first really nice ones. You can still find that for a pretty good price online. It's maybe not carried as often as, you know, some of these, you know, the Latafas, the Armafs, things like that, but you can still find it for a pretty good price, and it does a darn good job at emulating Interlude. Now, do be aware, just like Interlude, it has that kind of oregano in the opening that can turn a lot of people off. It's gonna be a smoky, woodsy fragrance with that kind of herbaceousness to it. It's one of those deals. If you like Interlude, you'll like this. If you don't like Interlude, you won't like this. If you're unsure about Interlude and you just have a hankering to blind buy, you could check this out first, I guess, and possibly save yourself some money. After that, Francique 6355. This is by Fragrance World. This is a clone of Gris Charnel, and it is really, really good. Gris Charnel being probably, I would say, the most popular fragrance from BDK, and this is extremely close to that one. Really, the main difference for me is that this one is a little bit sweeter, just a little sweeter, which for some people is gonna be a positive because Gris Charnel, a little bit drier to an extent as compared to this. But really, when you're, you know, saying these differences, it's not like it's a massive difference. So I can say, oh yeah, 6355 is a little bit sweeter, but at the end of the day, it's a big difference. So 6355, absolutely 100% the best alternative Gris Charnel right now. Don't wanna spend full price. And the last one is this one. Look at that. Oud 24 Hour. Also from the same brand that did Midnight Oud, Ard Al Zafran. And yeah, the presentation here, it looks pretty cheap. Just like the little rubber on the cap, and it kind of slides on there in a way that feels like, yeah, it doesn't look great. This is a clone of Black Orchid by Tom Ford. And actually, it's a really, really good clone. Black Orchid, kind of like Interlude, doesn't smell like Interlude, but kind of like Interlude, was a real hype beast back a number of years ago. And that hype has fallen off as time has gone on, new things have come out, but Black Orchid is still one of those fragrances that I think for a lot of people, it's just like, you gotta have it, you know? It's one of those scents that a lot of of people feel like deserves a spot in like the echelon of amazing fragrances. That's not a thing. The echelon of amazing fragrances. Wow, is that Black Orchid? Oh, there it is. What else is that? What is that? Oh, Dracar Noir, yeah. Dior Sauvage. What? Get that out of there, get it out of there. Yeah, this is a Black Orchid clone, really good one. Kind of like this one, doesn't have as much distribution, but for the price point, really excellent. This one, I would caution you, more so than some of these others. Back in the day, this was more common, but with clone fragrances, sometimes when you first get them and you spray them on, you'll be like, oh, that sucks. And you go back to it, you know, a couple weeks or a couple months later even, and you'll go, oh, it's completely different. It's opened up, it's so much better. This one, more so than any of the other ones here, you may run into that, so be aware. Pretty much all these others are good off the rip. All right, that's it. I am done. Here you go, 12 clones you gotta know about. These are some solid boys right here. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Let's hope for a good 2024 with some Elixir clones.